Sometimes life gets so loud, doesn't it? The world around us never stops talking. There's noise from people, from our plans, our phones, our fears, and that endless list of responsibilities. In all that noise, the quiet, gentle voice of God can feel distant, almost lost. But here's the truth I want to share with you today. God is still speaking. He hasn't stopped. He is calling your name softly, lovingly, and persistently. The question isn't whether He's calling, but whether you and I are actually listening. You see, God doesn't shout. He whispers. He does this because He doesn't want to overwhelm you. He wants to draw you close. His voice comes in the stillness, seen those quiet moments of prayer when you open the scriptures, or in that gentle stirring of your heart when something deep inside you says, there has to be more than this. When God calls your name, it isn't always some dramatic, thunderous event. Sometimes it's as simple as a quiet feeling that just won't go away, a tug on your soul, a deep sense that you were made for more than the life you're currently living. That, right there, is His call. Think about the story of Samuel in the Bible. He was just a young boy, serving in the temple. One night, he heard a voice calling, Samuel. He thought it was his mentor, Eli, so he ran to him. But Eli said, I didn't call you. This happened 3 times. Finally, Eli realized it was the Lord. So he told Samuel, go back and say, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. And that's where it all began. Samuel's life was completely changed because he learned how to listen. How often does God call your name just like that? Maybe it's through the quiet prompting of your conscience. Maybe it's through the ache in your heart. It could be through a verse in the scriptures that suddenly feels alive and written just for you. Or through the encouragement of a friend who reminds you of His love. He calls you in the ordinary moments, not just in church, but when you're driving in your car, in the middle of a stressful day, even in your deepest pain. He calls when you are lost. He calls when you are weary. He calls when you feel completely unworthy. Because to Him, your name is not just a sound. It's a story. It's a purpose. It's a soul He created with infinite love. When God calls your name, He's not trying to control you. He's inviting you. He's inviting you to return, to trust, to follow, and to believe again. Maybe you've been running, chasing success, approval, or pleasure, trying to fill a silence that only God's voice can truly fill. But deep down, you know something is missing. The world's noise can entertain you, distract you, and even comfort you for a little while, but it can never, ever bring peace to your soul. God's voice, however, brings a peace that surpasses all understanding. When He calls your name, He's not there to point out all your failures. No, He's reminding you of who you truly are. Remember Mary Magdalene after the resurrection. She was weeping outside the tomb, completely lost in her grief, until Jesus said one single word, "Mary." In that moment, she recognized him. The darkness lifted. Her profound sorrow turned into overwhelming joy. That is the power of hearing your name spoken by God. One moment, everything can seem hopeless. The next, His presence fills you with light. When God calls your name, He's not calling who the world says you are. He's calling who He created you to be. The world might label you by what you've done, but God calls you by what you're becoming. You are not broken. You are beloved. You are not a failure. You are forgiven. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. But to hear His voice, you must first be still. In Psalm 46:10, God says, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is the place where the noise of the world fades and your heart finally begins to listen. You don't have to have all the right words or say the perfect prayers. You just need a willing heart that says, "Speak, Lord, I'm listening." God's call isn't always about doing something big and monumental. Sometimes it's simply about coming back to Him. Sometimes it's about forgiving someone who hurt you. Sometimes it's about letting go of fear. And sometimes it's simply about resting in His love. But if you ignore His call for long enough, your heart can start to grow numb. That S, why spiritual listening, ISNT, a one-time event, S, a daily posture of the soul. It's learning to live with your heart wide open to His whispers. The prophet Elijah experienced this on Mount Horeb. He was discouraged, hiding from his fears, completely exhausted. Then came a great wind, but God wasn't in the wind. Then an earthquake, but God wasn't in the earthquake. Then a fire, but God wasn't in the fire. And then there came a gentle whisper. And that's where Elijah found God. You see, God often speaks not through the chaos, but in the calm that follows it. You won't find His voice in the storm of your anxiety or the noise of your distractions. You'll find it in the still, small voice that calls your heart back to peace. And when you finally listen, something inside you begins to shift. You start to see that His call isn't about rules or religion, about a relationship. He calls you because you has a purpose for your life. He calls you because your soul is precious to Him. Even when you've wandered far away, He still calls your name. Just like the shepherd in Jesus' parable who left the 99 sheep to go find the one that was lost. He is searching for you, calling you back home. And when you respond, when you finally say, "Here I am, Lord," everything changes. The emptiness begins to fill. The confusion starts to clear. the pain starts to find a purpose. That S, the incredible beauty of hearing God, Scarlet, restores you to who you were always meant to be. So today, I want to invite you to take a moment, step away from the noise, turn off the distractions, just sit quietly, even if it's only for a minute, and whisper these simple words: Lord, I'm listening. You may not hear thunder or see a dramatic sign, but deep in your spirit, you might just sense something gentler, peace, a warmth, a presence. That's Him calling your name. He's not far away. He's never stopped speaking. He's never stopped loving you. And maybe, just maybe, this very moment, right now, as you're listening, when you finally hear it, that whisper that says, "Come back to me. I have been waiting for you." Because God still calls. He calls through the quiet. He calls through the pain. He calls through love. And when you answer, you will discover the greatest truth of all: you were never alone. He's been with you the whole time, whispering your name in the silence, just waiting for you to listen. Thank you so much for watching. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content like this. May you find stillness today to hear His voice